Hello everybody, welcome to Cheri Voyage. Today we're going to be going over the second video in the How To Bridal series. I already did a video, so please use the link down below to watch the overview and preparation when it comes to how I've laid out this master class course in bridal makeup. Now, I've been a makeup artist for 25 years. Mind-blowing to me, and I wanted to share with you guys everything I have learned in my career, especially when it comes to brides, because I have done hundreds of brides at this point in my life, and I wanted to give you guys as much information as I could to help you guys navigate through the bridal makeup season. All right, everybody, let's go ahead and jump into the second video, which is the chic bride look. Now, I recommend before you even get started on this video, please make sure you check out the first video, which goes over the overview and the preparation when it comes to your big day. So some of you may already be doing facials and making sure that you're getting your skin nice, hydrated, plumped, and dewy. But for the big day, we need to make sure that the skin is nice and hydrated before we put the makeup on. So what I'm going to do first is go ahead and grab some eye patches. I like the PTR eye patches. There are several different types. Use the ones based for your skin type. So I'm grabbing these two jelly eye patches. These ones are for anti-fatigue, but you can get ones for anti-aging. You can get ones for deep hydration. They're really great for plumping around the eye area, which is really important because that day you'll be having plenty of photographs taken and you want to have the eye area really nice and hydrated so that the makeup sits beautifully. All right, now that we have our eye patches on, I'm going to go ahead now and grab a really wonderful cream to make sure that the skin is nice and dewy. I highly recommend for your big day the Luminizer. It is such an incredible base for makeup as well as giving really great hydration to the skin. For those of you that have never used Luminizer, you want to take just about a half a dime size amount. Never put your fingers in. You want to make sure to use a Q-tip or spatula so you get no bacteria in your product. You're going to take it on the tip of your fingers and you're going to warm it up. And you want to warm it up so that it activates the product. You'll know it's done when it becomes clear. You shouldn't see any white. It should be transparent. Once you have that, you're going to go ahead and press it onto the skin. I like to take it down my neck, and if you are having a strapless dress for that day, you can add a little bit of Luminizer as well on the décolletage. So I've let the eye patches sit for a good 10 minutes. I really want to have that nice and hydrated. And then you want to go ahead and take the patches off. You want to go ahead and use a good eye cream. I'm using a bit of the Luminizer and tapping it around the eye. A technique that I recommend for putting your eye cream on is press into the skin and roll or wiggle your fingers back and forth, moving out to the temples. That will help to depuff around the eye area. Now that I've got the eyes nice and hydrated and the skin, I'm going to go ahead now and add a lip treatment. I'm using the Sugar Fresh Advanced Lip Therapy. I want this to sit on the lips while I do my foundation and eyes so that my lips are nice and hydrated and plump. So I'll take a little of this here and put it all over the lip. And definitely go ahead and go a little above the lip around the outer edge so that it is nice and hydrated around the lip line area. Now let's go ahead and get into the makeup application. So when it comes to the look that I'm going to be doing today for a chic bride, it's going to constitute having really great skin. And in all the videos that I'll be doing in this series, great skin is what it's going to be about, but the finish is what we're talking about here. So the finish for this look today is going to be a satin finish with a light reflective dewiness to the skin, and a really clean eye with a cat eyeliner with a very soft neutral shade for the lid, a nice clean brow, a light kind of rose cheek, and then a beautiful either soft pink or vibrant red look depending on what you're going for. So in summary, when you think of a chic bridal makeup look, think elegant, effortless, and stylish. So for the chic bride look, I'm going to use the Dior Air Flash in number 201. It has won many awards because it's a beautiful, beautiful airbrushed finished makeup. I'm going to use my Artiste oval brush to really give the most flawless finish possible. These two together are amazing. So what you want to do is make sure you shake it up really good. You can hear the ball in there. And then you're going to spray on the brush here. From there, you're just going to tap it on. And I start in the center, kind of around the cheek area, and then move outward. This is a really exceptional foundation, and I will show you guys in a minute the difference between the side that has the actual foundation and the side that does not. It's just a beautiful finish that lasts 12 to 18 hours. It doesn't move. I've used this on so many brides in my 25-year career. I can't even begin to tell you guys. It's my go-to foundation for bridal season. Look at the difference between the side that has the Dior Air Flash and the side that doesn't. Do you see how it doesn't look like I'm wearing foundation? It just looks similar to this side, but obviously it has neutralized any sort of discoloration, it softened pores, it's blurred any of my dark spots. It just leaves a really gorgeous finish. So I'm going to go ahead now and do this other side, and then we're going to go in and use the concealer. All right, both sides are done now with the Dior Air Flash, and I have to tell you, the Lumiere mixed with that Dior Air Flash creates the most stunning bridal finish. There's actually three main components when it comes to creating this beautiful flawless finish, and that is the Lumiere cream, the Dior Air Flash, and the Artiste Oval 7 brush. You cannot beat those three together if you're looking for a perfectly flawless finish for your base. All right, so let's go ahead now and get into concealer. I'm going to use the Tom Ford concealing pen. Now obviously use the one that you feel neutralizes the most color as well as hides any sort of imperfections that are of concern to you. I'm going to go in and lightly cover the areas that I want a little bit more concealing. The foundation already did a lot of work, but I want to make sure to neutralize any discoloration that is still appearing on the skin. So I'm focusing on this inner corner and pretty much the center of the face, that kind of small oval shape right here, which is where a lot of discoloration is from the folds of your nose, you know, around the eye socket area, around the mouth. And I am using a shade that is a bit lighter to add some luminosity to the skin and brightening. So I'm going out here now to do a little lifting and brightening on the outside as well. And I will take a little bit and just tap it on my nose, just kind of brighten the center of the face. All right, from there, I'm going to take my Artiste brush, which has a little of the foundation left, which is what I like because I can blend the two formulas and colors together to create a really seamless transition. Patting this on, and then I'll buff it out when I'm done with laying it into the skin. Even around the eye, you can see I'm just patting it on here. You want to make sure to go around down the neck, blend out all your edges all the way around your face. All right, so let's go ahead and add a blush now, and I'm going to use a cream to powder blush. This one is by Hourglass. It's called Devoted. When it comes to your blush, you want it to be subtle but have a bit of a pop. So I recommend for most skin tones, you're going to use a rose, or if you're medium to deep skin tone, a berry. So here is the color. So I'm just tapping this on here, and I can go ahead now and just use my finger. Placing your blush on your cheekbone on the upper area helps with lifting. So whatever age you are, it just will look fantastic because it does a natural lifted, flushed look. Okay, so do you see how light that is? But it does have a nice kind of rosy flush look that moves across the cheek. All right, both cheeks are done, and this next product I cannot recommend enough to you guys. Find a beautiful highlighter. My favorite for wedding season is the RMS Beauty Living Luminizer. And the reason is it's a perfect combination of glossiness mixed with perfectly finely milled shimmer particles. It just has the most natural looking, light catching, dewy finish to it. Here is what it looks like. And you're going to use this on several areas on the face. All right, let's go ahead and start with the upper cheek area. So I'm going to take this and just tap a couple of drops here. I'm going to take my finger and just add a couple of taps to the upper brow bone area, right above where we placed the blush. And less is more. As I always say, it's easier to add than to take away. See that? So from here, I can tell I can use a little more. I like to work in small steps so that way I can gauge, how much I need to add or how much I need to take away. Now, if you're doing your own makeup and not having a makeup artist, I highly recommend doing this and taking pictures in between. Go outside, natural light, artificial light, indoors to see what it looks like. You'll be better able to really hone in on the look that you want. So I'm at a little more here. Okay, so that feels good to me. There's enough light there while still looking natural, but it's definitely something that you can notice. All right, let's go ahead and add a little bit to the nose. I don't like a lot of highlighter on the nose in general because I think it looks artificial, but a tiny, tiny, tiny bit across the bridge of the nose can make you look like you have a nice, natural, what I like to call workout glow. And it gives an illusion of dewy skin without it being too wet in consistency because you're using shimmer particles instead of a wet texture. So I'm just tapping it across the nose here, using just a very little bit. I don't want it to be as noticeable as this area. I want it to be much more subtle. So you can see how you can hardly see that on my nose. That's the point. We just want it to be able to catch light as we move the face around, and it's especially beautiful in photographs. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the face powder. I'm going to show you a technique or a tip that helps to give a really beautiful airbrushed finish for powder so that it doesn't look too cakey or heavy. So I'm going to go ahead and use the Mercier powder today, and I got the color in Translucent Glow. This has a bit of a shimmer to it, but it's really finely milled, very subtle, so it won't look like too much on the skin. And what I do is I take a little bit and tap it into the lid here, grab my big fluffy Kevyn Aucoin brush, I just tap that in. So this next tip is hugely important, and I see it happen so often I can't even begin to tell you. So if you're doing your own makeup for your wedding day, or you just obviously do your makeup day to day in general, please listen to this tip that I'm about to give you. I dipped my loose powder into my lid, tapped it into the lid, and dusted it off. But look what happened. It's still got a ton of powder, and it's all condensed right in the middle, and then on the outside it gets a little looser. So what do you think will happen? I go to put it on my face, and one area is going to have a thick, cakey powder, which is normally right where the oils are at. So then your foundation and powder turn into almost like a cakey mess when it hits the oil that's eventually going to come through the skin. And you buff it out, and then it looks streaky. So when you get your powder brush, make sure you look at it. And if it has a lot sitting on the surface of the domed part of the brush, take a tissue and push that powder into the brush and kind of wipe a little off. The goal is that you don't have a bunch of powder sitting on the tip of your brush, so that way it doesn't transfer onto the skin and become cakey and heavy. Another tip, if you're not somebody who thinks that they'll take that extra step in taking the tissue and blotting it in the powder brush into the tissue, take your lid then and put very, very little bit of powder, hardly any, and push your brush in and swirl it around. They call this loading your brush. And what this does is as you're swirling your brush into that lid, it's pushing that powder into the base of the brush, so that way there's not a bunch of powder sitting on top of the brush area that will get cakey and heavy when you apply it to your skin. And then there you go. Now, as you can see, there's still a little bit sitting on the brush, so I'll go in and just keep tapping it off, even kind of loosely brushing it back and forth so that I get as much as I can on the brush, but mostly inside the bottom of the brush. When you go to put it on now, you pat it on first, and then you can go in and buff. But the point is, you don't want a lot of heavy powder just sitting on top of that brush. But I'm going to show you guys how I do it for brides. And that is, I put a piece of tissue down first. And I've done this a lot, not just for brides, but editorial or for people that are going on TV or HD, 4K. because what happens is, and especially on your wedding day, you're going to get professional photographs, so the camera's going to pick up on everything, is that you want everything to look very airbrushed and soft. And by putting a tissue on the skin, the tissue adds a diffusing element to the powder. Because it has small little holes in the tissue, it helps to not put so much product onto the face. It deposits the color a little less intense and gives a little bit more of an airbrushed finish. So I put this on the cheek and then I tap it into skin here. And you'd be surprised just how much powder you actually get on your skin, even with this as a barrier. Once I have that on, then I can lightly go in, and what I mean lightly is, if you guys can see, I'm never collapsing the brush into my face. I'm using just the dome part of the brush to lightly swirl the powder and buff it out. And the reason you want to do that is you don't want to move the products that you just laid down, foundation, blush, highlighter, and make them streak. So definitely work in a light circular motion between tapping and then go back in and swirling to get a flawless powder finish. Now when it comes to the highlighter, I lightly dust a little powder because I don't want to not see that highlighter. I want it to still stand out, but I'm kind of helping it also to set onto the skin. So do you see how you can still see my highlighter? And there's powder over it. That is how light you want to apply powder. And I have to say that's the one thing that really gets under my skin as a makeup artist, is seeing beautiful makeup and then going in with heavy powder, and it just makes you look cakey and dry, and it can be very aging. And if you're younger and have a lot of oil in your skin, it can make the most cakiest, pasty looking foundation finish, and I just can't recommend enough using a light touch when it comes to your powder. Okay, let's get into the focal point. Now that we've got the beautiful dewy skin placed down, now we're going to focus on the eyes. And my goodness, the eyes are really where it's at, isn't it? No matter what occasion it is. So it's very important that you take the time to do your eyes beautifully. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a cat eye, and I'm going to use a black eyeshadow powder. I'm going to use the Dior powder. This is their new ones, the Mono Couture. I'm going to use the black bow. I'm going to wet it so that way the powder goes on and then dries down onto the lid. There's several different ways that you can apply eyeliner. There's waterproof eye gel liner pots that you can dip in. A great one is by Bobbi Brown. There is waterproof eyeliners that you can use as well, and then stamp powder on top to help them not move. And you can also do liquid liner. Liquid liner I'm a bit trepidatious about because when it touches water, it tends to break down. All right, so let's get started on a powder eyeliner look. I have my awesome 262 MAC angled eyeliner brush. Best eyeliner brush, so easy to use. It's got a great cut angle, so that way you get a really easy application. And what I did is I grabbed a little cup of water here. Feel free to use a spray bottle if you want, or a little cup of water, whatever you need to do, but just make sure your brush gets wet. I dipped it into the water, and what I'm going to do is lightly tap off any excess water here. From there, I just want to load my brush, which means just getting the product on the brush by wiggling it back and forth into the powder. From there, I'm going to stamp it onto my lid. Now, if you're somebody who is doing their makeup that day and you have a hard time putting eyeliner on, I am doing the stamping effect so that you guys can see how much easier it is than trying to draw a line. Keep turning my brush from one angle or the other side of the brush to the other side so that I can get the edge of the eye by working this angle, and then I turn my brush around to do the other parts of the eye. Feel free to go back and forth. That is why I load both sides of the brushes, to give you an idea of where we're at in this process. See how close and thin that application is? That's what you want, because you can always make the line thicker, but it's nice to get really close to the lash line so that you get the most definition when it comes to your eye shape. So to create the tail, we're going to use the long side, or the very tip of that edge of the brush. The tip of it will go to the very corner of the outer lash. And you can use it to kind of draw a little line outward. From there, you're going to take that angle and you're going to draw another little line. So basically a little triangle on the outside. And then you're going to fill it in. Okay, so here we go. a really clean, defined cat eye. I'm going to go ahead and do the other eye, and then I will add a shadow to the crease. So I have both eyes with the eyeliner on now. Let's go ahead and get into the shadow. So I went through all my eyeshadow palettes trying to figure out what would be the most beautiful for a chic bride, and I chose the Chantecaille Butterfly eyeshadow palette. The reason I chose this color palette is that it gives me a lot of options, and the formulation is matte with very finely milled shimmer particles, so will catch light but not be over the top. Now you can use just the lighter kind of fun green color or something that's more peach, or you can go more for the neutral tone. I'm going to stick to a very neutral palette because I have the black eyeliner on it. I don't want to compete with that and make anything too harsh, so I'm going to use these two colors today. So I am grabbing my Sonia G Mini Booster Brush, and I'm going to go in with the light peach color right here. And I'm going to pop that right on the lower lid. This will help to brighten the eye while also controlling oil in the lid. A little powder or shadow on the lower lid helps the eyeliner not to transfer or to create that stamp-like effect on the upper lid area. And if you have a lot of concerns with smaller eyes or hooded eyes, having the eyeliner stamp onto the lid, definitely use a waterproof eyeliner and a eyeshadow primer, and then go back with a powder either in the same color as the eyeliner or just a setting powder and place it on top of that liner to help it so that it doesn't have so much oil in it. It will help to basically take out the moisture or the extra pigment oils that are in the eyeliner. Okay. So from there, I'm going to go ahead now and take the next color, which is this light brown taupey color. I'm going to use the same brush, but just turn it over right into the crease. And I'm going to go right on top of the peach color that I just laid down. Basically right on the lower brow bone, and letting the brush kind of move up towards the actual brow bone and feather up into the upper brow bone area. All right, I almost forgot one of the most important things. That is eyelashes. So I'm gonna go ahead and put on some lashes. And I'm doing some feathery lashes that have a long wispy ends to them. I'm grabbing my duo glue. I'm going to just take that band and stamp it into the glue here. And obviously you can skip eyelashes. I just find that they look incredibly stunning when you take photographs because it really makes your eyes stand out. So I recommend lashes, but do you. So I like to let them dry for a bit, so that way it doesn't get too wet and sticky. You want them to kind of have a bit already of a tackiness so that you can just place them and not have the glue move all around on you. Now I did cut mine a bit at the ends because I wanted to make sure that they measured perfectly to my eye. So a tip for you guys, pull the lash, measure it against your eye, and if it's too long, definitely cut it because you want it to be a perfect fit. All right, so the best way to put lashes on is to put your head up, look down, and then just pop them on. Now I like to lay down the outer corner first, let it kind of stick, and then I'll slowly start to push down the middle and then the tip that sits towards the inner eye. All right, now that the outer eye area is sitting, I can go ahead and start pressing down the middle and this corner here. So to show you the difference in having a lash and not having a lash, I'm going to keep this lash on, which is a bit dramatic, but I wanted to really show you guys on camera how lashes make an impact. And I'm going to go ahead now and just do mascara on this eye so that you can see the difference. So I grabbed my Dior Show Iconic Overcurl. Love this mascara. It's great for lifting the lashes and giving them a nice tight curl. And I start off with the side that looks like a rainbow shape or the arc shape to lift the lashes. And then I'll turn the brush around. It looks like a little happy face. And that helps to further lift the lashes and add more curl. All right, so here we go. Two different looks when it comes to lashes, false and natural. So I took off the eyelash strip because I wanted to make sure to match the two together. And so now I just have the mascara on. So let's get into lips. Now my favorite lip products are Chanel's because they have some really great stay-on lipsticks. And that is because you're going to be doing a lot of hugging and kissing probably that day. And so we want something that's going to definitely not move. I'm going to go ahead today and use the Rouge Allure Ink lipsticks. These are fantastic. They go on really beautifully. And what I love about them is you can skip a lip liner because you can get a really great shape by using the applicator and going right to the edge of the lip to create kind of a lip liner effect with the lipstick, and they don't move. Now, if you want something that stays on longer and will not budge, get the dual-ended ultra long wear lipsticks by Chanel. I'm going to go ahead now and go in with this color, which is a nice, soft, nudish pink color so that it looks very natural and clean. And then I'm going to add a red to show you guys how you can do the same look with just a little bit more of a glamorous pop to the mouth. Now feel free to use lip liner if you want more definition. I feel like I have enough definition on my eye with my eyeliner, so I'm kind of trying to create a good balance by not doing too much definition on the face. So this is where my definition lies, and this just gets a little bit more subtle as it moves down on the face. So here's a really natural looking pout. I have the peach kind of rosy color here, and then the definition and the focus is really on the eye. If you like the lip color but you're feeling like you're looking a little washed out, go back in with your blush and add a couple more layers, and it'll give a little more balance to the overall look. So I'm going to go in with the blush stick here. Just add a little bit more color to the complexion. Do you see how that changed the overall look by just adding an element of color to one area of the face to just kind of push up all the other colors? That is one way that you can bring more balance to the skin if you're looking a little washed out. I'm going to use the same formulation, but I'm going to use a color now called Idyllic, and this is quite bold, but I wanted to show you guys how you can wear a chic look for those of you who want something that's a little bit more bold and a little bit more on the glamorous side of chicness. So let's go in. So I don't want it to be too much, so I'm going to go in and just lightly place a couple of drops on the lip, move it around. This will help me to better gauge the intensity of the lip color. It's kind of building up color here. So I'm going to go in now with the tissue, press it on my lips to get off any excess color, to create a light kind of berry stain. So obviously the focal point's changed a bit. We have definitely the eyes and the lips, but the lips are still a little bit more subdued than the eyes because I'm taking off all of the excess red and just kind of more doing a stain on the lip. All right, and the very last thing to finish the makeup application, of course, is a setting spray. My favorite is the Hourglass Veil Soft Focus Setting Spray. It definitely holds the makeup down, and it also gives a nice, subtle, luminous finish. Another thing that I love about this setting spray is the way that it mists onto the skin. It has the most beautiful delivery. It's a really fine mist that's laid across the skin. It's just a really great application. So you can move down, or feel free to move at an X or a Z. I do both because I like to make sure that that makeup is not going to move. We have the Chic Bridal Makeup. Of course, let me know if you guys have any questions. I know we went over a lot. I'd be happy to answer anything that might have popped into your mind. I'm here for you guys. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, leave me a comment down below, and most importantly, if you like what you're seeing, please use those affiliate links down below and don't forget to subscribe. All right, everyone, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.